Hi guys, welcome to lesson 9 concept development video. I apologize for getting this video up late today. Had some technical difficulties with some uploading of the videos. I tried to record on my iPad and everything got clunked up. So I apologize for that. I'm redoing this video. Hopefully, since I've already done a trial video, this goes pretty quick. Today we're going to be practicing adding decimals and subtracting decimals. Actually, not subtracting, we're only adding today. And we're going to be using place value strategies to help us. So we're going to use our place value chart, and then we'll go to the standard algorithm where we're stacking and adding, just like we learned in 3rd and 4th grade. So without further ado, let's get moving. Let's start with using unit form. So we're going to just use unit form to start adding. And when I talk about unit form, it's like saying 2 apples plus 2 apples. The unit is apples, so we say a number plus the word unit. So I can easily just replace the, oh man, Mr. Briggs. I can easily replace the apple unit with a different unit, and let's call it tenths. 2 tenths plus 2 tenths. If 2 apples plus 2 apples was 4 apples, well, 2 tenths plus 2 tenths is, 4 tenths. That's the great thing about unit form. You're just using the digits, the units stay the same. So let's try it with a little bit more involved. So I'm going to use more than just one unit. So let's do 2 ones, 6 thousandths, and we're going to add that to 3 ones and 1,000. So what's our answer in unit form? Well, you combine like units. You can't add ones to thousands. So thousandths to thousandths, so that would be 7 thousandths. Ones to ones, which would give us 5 ones. So our answer is 5 1 7 thousandths, which also looks like 5 and 0 0 7. Okay. Let's do one more with unit form. This time I'm going to make it a little bit more challenging, so let's see what you got. Let's do 2 ones, 3 tenths, 5 thousandths. And we're going to add that to 3 ones, 6 tenths, and 4 thousandths. Now when we stack and add just the digits, we always make sure that we're stacking, aligning those place values. Thousandths over thousandths, hundredths over hundredths, tenths over tenths, ones over ones, so on and so forth. So the same thing's true here. We have to add like units. So tenths plus tenths, ones plus ones, and thousandths plus thousandths. So, well, what's 5 thousandths plus 4 thousandths? Well, that's 9 thousandths. And what's 6 tenths plus 3 tenths? Well, that's 9 tenths. So you're just adding the digits and the unit comes along with it. 2 ones plus 3 ones, well, that's 5 ones. So our answer is 5 ones, 9 tenths, 9 thousandths. Now, if we were writing that in standard form, 5 and 9 in the tenths spot, it doesn't say anything for hundreds, so we got to represent that with a 0, and then 9 in the thousandths spot. So 5 and 909 thousandths is 5 ones, 9 tenths, 9 thousandths. Great. Now, what happens, I'm going to change my highlighter color, what happens if we got more than 10 in one place value? So let's say it was 13 tenths. Let's just change this problem a little bit. Let me get my eraser. Let me get rid of the 6. Let me get rid of this 9. So let's pretend that this was 8 tenths. So that would mean 3 tenths plus 8 tenths is 11 tenths. What would we do here? Well, this is where you'd have to visualize that place value chart. Oops, sorry. This is where you'd have to visualize that place value chart. Well, if we put 11 in the tenths place, well, we know that when we have 10 or more, we regroup. So this is actually going to shift as 1 and 1/10. So this is going to have to shift over to our ones place, and our answer is really going to become 6.109. So let's be careful with that as we practice moving forward. All right, so that was unit form practice. Well, let's try some place value practice. So quickly draw a place value chart. We'll put tens, ones, decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I like to use the fractions there so I don't have to spend so much time labeling. So we got tens, ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. And I would like you to represent 205 thousandths on your place value chart. So 0.205. So 205. And go ahead and ... We're going to add this to 0. We're going to add this to, whoops, sorry again. When I get close to the edge, 0.060. So we're going to add this to 0.060. Well, when we do this, we just need to add these values up. You could have used dots too if you wanted, but we'll just use the digits. Well, 5 and 0 is 5, 6 and 0 is 6, and 2 and 0 is 2. So bring the decimal down. The answer to this problem is 0.265, or that's how we'd write it. We'd say it as 265 thousandths. Okay, there was no regrouping there. Let's try one that's going to have some regrouping. So let's quickly give ourselves a place value chart. Let's put our decimal in there. We'll go tens, ones, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I'll take this time just to say, remember to pause anytime, because I go quick. Pause, get caught up, and then be with me. Don't allow me to go faster than you. You have the ability to pause me, rewind me, and do whatever you need to. We are going to take 1.8 and we are going to add it to 1.3. Well, that's a bad representation. That might get a little confusing over there. 1.3. Okay. Well, 1 in the ones place, 8 in the tenths place. And we're going to add that with 1.3. Well, that would give us 11, right? 8 plus 3 is 11. Well, if we have 11, we need to regroup one of those. So now we have 1 plus 1 plus 1. So we should have 3.1 as our answer. So, okay, so we've seen using unit form. We see how we can use our place value chart to help us. Let's just use standard algorithm. So what I mean by that is if I just had two whole numbers, 238 plus 114, what would you do? Well, you'd stack them. 200, whoops, let me write that correctly. 238 plus 114. And we're going to add those. And you just put ones over ones, tens over tens, hundreds over hundreds. Well, the same thing is going to be true with decimals. We just have to make sure everything's lined up. So let's go ahead and practice. Let's do, I didn't want the highlighter. Let's do 1.7 plus 1.23. So this one does not have regrouping in it, so we're starting a little simply, and then we'll work our way up. So stacking them. So I'm going to put 1.7, and the best thing is to line up the decimal. That helps line up everything else. So for my next number, if I want my decimal over my decimal, the 1 would go right there, 2/10, 3/100. Well, whoopsie. what did I do? Mr. Briggs. Oh, there it is. 1.7. What would go in this spot right here if there's nothing representing hundredths? Yeah, 0. So now that we've stacked them in lining with the place value, let's add them just like we add any other number, going from our smallest place value and working our way up. If we have to regroup, we will regroup. Again, hint, there's no regrouping on this problem. Next problem we try, there will be. So 0 plus 3 in the hundredths place, 0 hundredths plus 3 hundredths is still 3 hundredths. I guess I'm answering with highlighter. In the next column, it's tenths. So we have 7 tenths plus 2 tenths, and that's going to give us 9 tenths. The decimal stays in this exact same spot as it is, and then 1 1 plus 1 1 is 2 1. So the answer is 2 and 93 hundredths. Great. Well, let's try it again. This time we're going to regroup. Let's see, how am I doing on time? 11 minutes. Great. These couple last problems. I should be under 15 minutes, but we all know that Mr. Briggs talks a lot. So I'll do my best. Let's try 2.3 plus, actually let's do 2.36 plus 1.25. Notice I'm thinking of this in my head, trying to figure out a good problem for us. So what did we do the first time? What do we do anytime we're adding standard algorithm? Well, the best thing to do is stack, lining up the place values, lining up the decimal. That's a really bad decimal right there. Oh my goodness, that's one of the worst I've done in a long time. But we know it's a decimal, and we know that we're going to start on the smallest place value side. Well, 6 hundredths plus 5 hundredths is 11. 5 plus 6 is always 11. 11 hundredths. Well, we know we put one down here and we regroup over here. So now we have 3 tenths plus 2 tenths, which is 5 tenths, and then the one we regrouped, which will give us 6 tenths. The decimal comes down right where it is, and then we have 2 ones plus 1 1. Well, that's 3 ones. So the answer to this is 3 and 61 hundredths. All right, last one that we're going to practice together on the concept video. We're going to go into thousandths, though, and I'm going to make us regroup more than once. So let's do 3 and 458 thousandths, and we're going to add that to 8 and 400. Oh, no, I don't want to do that one. I want to do 362 thousandths. So, once again, and I also just want to show you, make sure, look at that. That kind of looks like a comma. Could look like 3,458, but we know that it was supposed to be a decimal, so let me make sure it looks like a decimal more than a comma. Be careful with that, guys. All right, let's stack them and add them. 3.458. And we're going to add that to 8.362. All right, 3 and 458 thousandths plus 8 and 362 thousandths. I said we're regrouping more than once, so let's take a look at it. Can you notice which places, just by looking at it, which ones we're regrouping? If you realize that there's 3 regroups in this problem before even doing it, you're right. Now let's take a stab at it. All right, we're going to start on the smallest place value. So we're in thousandths place. 8 thousandths plus 2 thousandths is 10 thousandths. We know that anytime we get more than 10 in a place, we have to regroup. Now we have 5 hundredths plus 6 hundredths, which is 11 hundredths, plus the one more, which would give us 12 hundredths. There's another regroup. Now we have 4 tenths plus 3 tenths, which is 7 tenths, plus the one we regrouped, which is 8 tenths. The decimal comes down right where it's at. And now we have 3 ones plus 8 ones, which is 11 ones, which would allow us to regroup into the tens place. So 11 and 820 thousandths is the answer to that problem. All right, we are going to now, I'm going to get ready to stop. I'm going to shift over to working on the problem set. So please get out problem set for lesson 9 and get ready to practice your skills there, and then go ahead and do the exit ticket and submit it. Look at that, right at 15 minutes.